On a recent trip to Kansas, I was browsing an antique shop when I found this amazing bin of antique glass plate negatives for $4 each. But what a terrible way to treat glass plates, though. I selected 8 plates to bring home. Let's take a look at the photographs. My perception is that all of these were made by a single unidentified photographer. Maybe he was located in Kansas, or maybe these negs were brought here as a result of an auction and were made in some distant state. I don't know. But the negatives are 4 inches by 5 inches. Our first photograph shows 2 side-by-side portraits of a young man made with 2 separate exposures on the same plate to save the expense of using a whole plate for one portrait. The striking portrait was probably made between 1900 and 1915. Let's unpack the rest of them. This portrait of a young woman in a big hat was probably made between 1908 and 1912. I used AI to help me determine these dates, and it identified fashion clues, like the hat called a picture hat, which peaked during those years. AI also examined her blouse and her hairstyle to help determine the time frame. This negative has been inscribed with a name, and it seems to say Devan Mabel and is numbered. Here's another side-by-side portrait of a beautiful young woman. AI dated this between 1905 and 1910, based on her so-called lingerie dress. Called that because of the fabric that was used and the use of lace elements. AI also identified her Gibson girl hairstyle and the Edwardian era silhouette of her dress. Here's a photograph of 3 young men. 2 of them look like they could be brothers. AI said this was dated to 1905 to 1912 time frame based on the style of their suits. There's so much detail and dynamic range in these glass plate negatives. Portraits feel like real time capsules, don't they? And our final portrait shows 2 young women in matching dresses, and oh my, that's a lot of gingham. But it's the gingham that helped AI establish a date range of approximately 1898 to 1903. According to AI, gingham became an immensely popular fabric choice in the late 1890s for casual everyday attire. The style, featuring high, stiffened collars and puffed sleeves, points toward a late 1890s construction that maintained its popularity in rural and Midwestern locales like Kansas into the very early 1900s. Their hairstyles and those big straw boater hats, which AI called quintessential accessories for young women during this 5-year window, were other signature points that helped AI determine the date range. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing these glass plate negatives. Thanks for watching. Be sure to visit my website at keithdodson.com.